Hello, welcome to the Sound of Sergey podcast, episode 12. I am your host, Sergey Nikolaevich Ivanov. Welcome to the Sound of Sergey. I'm very, very happy to be presenting to you. Happy to be on the podcast again. It's always a joy. It's always a good experience to do. It's always something I like doing. I always feel refreshed and fulfilled. I feel like I have a life purpose. I mean, is that true? No. But the point is, I am very glad to be here talking to you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Now, I'd like to start off the podcast by cluing you in on the fact that there is an epidemic going on in our country right now. And I don't mean COVID-19, although that is happening. That is going on right now in America. But there's an epidemic that, in my opinion, it's not worse, but it's bad. I have realized through experience, through anecdotes, and through data that there is an epidemic of just the worst, terrible. It is atrocious Christian music. Now, let me preface my words, my statement that I'm about to give, my rant. Let me preface that by saying that it is okay to be a Christian. This rant is not meant to be Christians suck. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that they're just bad at making music. Now, I would also like to say that if you are a Christian who feels offended, if you are someone who worships Jesus Christ himself, and you feel attacked by my words, here's what I want you to do. I want you to remedy this problem by doing a simple thing called you don't have to listen to this podcast. Thank you very much. Now, it is okay to be a Christian unless you're like a Catholic priest and raping kids. That's not a good thing. But it is okay to be a Christian. I'm not saying don't be a Christian. I'm saying you guys make really bad radio music. Christian music. I don't mean like the Christian music where it's like, Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound. That's not what I mean. That's a classic. That's a banger. You know, you go to a party, people are passing out cold ones, people are doing drugs in the corner, people are snorting coke off of like people's butts. Like, it's a crazy party, and then they drop a banger. They drop Amazing Grace. Like, you ever been in one of those parties? I don't think they exist. I'm not talking about those Christian songs, like the classics. Like, classics meaning like 500 years ago they were written. I'm talking about like the Christian songs was like, holy, 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 I'm high on loving you. Like, you ever heard that song? That song is bad. I mean, there's no question about it. Now, there are two types of songs, or two types of Christian music that I'm going to be covering in this forthcoming rant on this episode. One is hymnals, like hymns. I have a good stance, meaning that I have plenty of experience with hearing and even singing gospel hymns. I sang out of the Blue Book, and if you live in the Baptist South, as I do, you know what the Blue Book is. R.J. Stevens, that Blue Book. Hymns for Worship Revised, that Blue Book. That's what I talk about when I mean the Blue Book. I don't mean no Alien Project Blue Book. I mean R.J. Stevens Revised. That is what I'm talking about. I sang out of that for years. I still do to this day. I sing out of that. And having a very religious family, you have better believe that I hear those songs every day to the point where it makes me want to punch a hole through the window with my bare fist. Don't do that. If you have the urge to punch through the window, you will definitely need stitches. Your hand will probably fall off. That's how dangerous that is. So don't do that. but it is so obnoxious. Here's what happened. The other day, I was in the kitchen making breakfast at 2 p.m., as you do. I do the intermittent fasting thing, so I eat breakfast at like 3 in the afternoon. I'm out there, I'm cooking my eggs and bacon, keto. My mom comes in, and she is humming a song, and no, she's not humming, she has it like on Spotify. It's like acapella, because like her denomination is like no instrumental music. She's listening to acapella music. It's like one of those like acapella groups, which I hate those. Acapella groups are dumb. Those are stupid. Now here's what's good. The dude where it's like one guy does all the voices, and he records it over and over. There are people on YouTube who do that. Now that's cool. That I can get behind. That's something I enjoy listening to. But we're just it's just 5 people and they're just really gay. They're always so gay. They're always unnecessarily gay. No offense to gay people, but they're really gay. They all do their gay songs, Pentatonics, Panic at the Disco, whatever. They all do that. Glee. Oh my gosh. You want to talk about a gay singing group. Anyway, I don't like a cappella groups. She comes in there blasting, and it's like, we will worship you on the mountain. We will worship you on the throne. And it's like, there's a special type of a cappella group and here's what it is. Most people can't really pick up on this, but I can because I've worked in music production and mastering and sampling and remixing music. So I have experience in that field. So I know EQ and levels, balance, stuff like that. I hear it. Those are always so compressed. Compression, for all those who don't know, is when I speak to you very, very quietly in the recording, and then I start yelling. Those are very different sounds in decibel range. I mean, one is very soft and one is very loud. Now, what compression is it takes the loud and it takes the soft and it brings them closer together. So instead of soft and then loud, you go soft and then loud. And it's basically the same level, so it's a lot more enjoyable experience. It's like, how you watch TV and sometimes you'll be watching TV with your family and you've got it set at a nice level, and maybe you're watching an action movie. And it'll be a dialogue scene, and so whoever has the remote starts turning up the TV to a point where you can hear the dialogue. And then, smash cut to an action scene. People are shooting guns, and it's like, whoa, that is way too loud. You have to turn that down. That is because there is a lack of compression. Compression basically brings the loud and the soft closer together. I do that on this podcast, so it's easier for you guys to listen to. It's a more enjoyable listening experience. Now, you don't want to overdo it, because when you overdo it, it sounds really, really stupid, and it genuinely uneases you to listen to overly compressed audio. Now, here's the second thing they do. As much as people don't want to admit it, those guys are auto-tuned to the moon. Those guys are auto-tuned so much. I'll give you an example. Back in the day, I was in a musical. I did used to be in musicals. There was one musical I was in. It was called Newsies. I was in that. I played a very minor role. I played Nunjer, who's a barber. And in the musical Newsies, at the very end of Act 1, there's this big epic song where the main character, Jack Kelly, sings about how he wants to go away to a place called Santa Fe. That's what the song is called. And basically the very end of the song is, I got nothing if I ain't got Santa Fe. And it's basically, he sings that note. It's 2 octaves higher than that. And so obviously when you get cast in a musical at your high school drama department or at your local community theater, when you have a cast, if there's a Netflix recording, if there's a Disney Plus recording, you want to go on there and you want to watch it. Now, if you go to the actual official recording of the Broadway musical Newsies from 2017, the recording, it's on Disney Plus if you have that. At the end of Act 1, you can hear the actor, what's his name? Jeremy Jordan. The actor Jeremy Jordan, he sings it, and here's what he goes. I got nothing if I ain't got Santa Fe. And then it's like, whoa, talk about a voice crack, or like he didn't make it. And so it's clear to tell, listen to it, that they auto-tuned him for the recording. Now, when I was in the musical, we brought that up. There was a discussion about it. And you would not believe. Like, listen, the die-hard theater kids were like, theater is the way to change the world. Like, people who are like that, first thing, they're really stupid. I don't like those people. You know who they are. You've met them. They're really annoying. Like, I would get an argument. It's like, listen, I've worked in music production. I've mastered songs. I know what auto-tune sounds like. They auto-tuned Jeremy Jordan's voice for that last note. And they're like, no, it was just and they don't have an explanation. They don't know what to say because they don't want to just admit, yeah, people on Broadway are capable of sucking. Like, no, here's something that I've learned about people who are deeply into Broadway. People who are deeply into Broadway do not want to admit at all that anything on Broadway, any production show, any live theater thing, they have every reason in the book why it is good and not bad. Like, you could give them, like, a piece of crap. Like, in the movie... There's a movie called The Producers, and it's basically about producers who, to get fraudulent money, they make a purposefully bad musical. And it's called Springtime for Hitler. So they make this musical, Springtime for Hitler. It is purposely bad. The producers of the show make it purposely awful so they can get fraudulent money from it. It's a long story. You could show them that, and theater kids would be like, oh, it's so good. And you'd be like, well, why is it good? And they're like, it's just so good. And it's like, that's basically the reasoning. It's so good because it's so good. That's it. I have never once heard a theater nerd say that a Broadway show is bad. 0 times. And listen, there are bad Broadway shows. Believe you me. There are awful Broadway shows out there. Trust me. But there's not a single negative word to be had from the Broadway nerds. To the point where this is also something that happened when I was in Newsies. There's also there's actually 2 recorded versions. And it's a weird story. There's like the one that you can find on Disney Plus, but also there's this like really rich prep school, like a private school, and it's a high school, and they have so much money. They literally went to Disney and it's like, we are going to make our own recording and license that out to the world. And they paid Disney so much money that Disney was like, okay, you can do that. Imagine if a high school goes to Disney and it's like, can we literally, they basically are making a movie. They're making a Disney licensed movie. This high school did. And it's really bad. No one can sing. No one in that. Like, first thing, every song is like twice as long because they slowed it down. Because God forbid you have a fast-paced song in a live performance. It's a really bad show. Now, when we were in Newsies at McCracken County High School, that started going around, and so we'd watch it and it's like, ha, this is really bad. And listen, we were not even halfway done. We were miles ahead of these guys. I promise you. I was there. I know. We were light years behind this like rich prep school. So word got out to the drama department director, the director of Newsies, and she was not happy at all. She basically sat us down and chewed us out saying, how dare you say anything bad about that high school's production of Newsies, because you can't say anything bad about them because you know that they worked hard. So you can't say anything negatively criticizing them about it. And it's like, hold on. the last time I checked, how much effort you put into something has absolutely zero to do with whether it is good. Listen, there are plenty of bad movies, and I have made movies. You want to know how hard it is to make a movie? It is extraordinarily difficult. It takes a long time. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of forethought. It takes a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And you can put in your life into a movie, and it can suck. It does not matter how much effort you put into something, it can still be bad. And that is what baffles me when she said that. She basically said, because they worked hard, that you have no right to say that it is bad. Well, no, that's stupid. Tommy Wiseau put 5 years into making his opus The Room, and that is one of the worst movies of all time. So bad, in fact, that it is known for being so bad that it is turned around to become good. So no, don't sit here and tell me that because they worked hard at it and put a lot of effort in, that means you can't criticize them negatively. No. Criticize someone based on if it's good. That is what criticism is. If it is good, then you say it is good. But if it is bad, whether they put a lot of effort into it or not, you say it is bad, because that's what criticism is. So anyway, that makes me angry. It really does. Now, I'm going to tell you a story. You guys love my stories. If there's one thing that I get comments the most is I like the story you tell, because usually the format of this podcast usually goes, I'll start off talking about a topic, and then I'll talk about another topic, and then I'll end it with a story from my life. All right, and this is the story. I might just tell two, but I'm probably going to tell one, depending on how long it takes me to tell it. This probably happened about January or so. It might have been January. Yeah, it had to be. So back in the day, I really wanted to give blood, but I could not because I was not 16, and that's the age you have to be to give blood. In my family, it is a tradition that we take that seriously. The household of which I am a part, they definitely encourage all of us, if you can, give blood, because it is very important, because it's actually something that my sister, this happened like 20 years ago, so I don't think she'll mind me telling this. When she was a baby, when my sister was born, and she had a lot of lung problems, and so we were very fortunate that she was able to get blood. So ever since then, we've taken it very, very seriously, giving blood and donating blood as much as you possibly can. Everyone in the family does it. Now, I had always wanted to carry on that tradition and give blood when I turned 16. Now, I turned 16, and the first chance that they had a blood drive at my school that I was 16 for, I signed up. I was like, absolutely, yes, I'm going to sign up and donate blood. As much as I can do to help and improve someone else's life, I'm going to do that because I feel like I have a responsibility to do that. Fair enough. So by the time the school's blood drive comes around, I believe it was like January or February, maybe about that time. They say over the intercom, we're going to have a blood drive, and it's going to be for like names A through whatever, and I was part of that. So I sign up for it. They hand out the papers. I get it signed, and I'm very excited that I am it's going to be the first time that I give blood. Now, the day comes, and by this point, there were 2 days already, because it's a long process. It takes a while to give blood. So by the time they got to me, it was like day 3 or 4 of the blood drive. So the blood drive person calls me out, and basically, here's what they do. They assign someone to get you so that they can monitor you and make sure you don't do anything to jeopardize the blood drive. Meaning, they're going to sit you down, look you in the face, and go, here, take this entire water bottle. You have to drink all of it all at once right now, and I'm going to watch you until you finish it. And then I have a very small bladder, so I have to go to the bath. The minute I put the water bottle down, I'm like, I have to go to the bathroom. So I'm like, so I think, oh, they're going to, be like, oh, we'll just go ahead. I'm like, hey, I'm going to head to the restroom. And so the guy that I am with, I forgot who it was, but it was someone that I knew. He's like, oh, okay. And then he starts to stand up and I'm like, whoa, where are you going? He's like, I'm following you to the restroom. I was like, do you have to? Then it's like, yeah, I have to make sure you don't like take any pills or anything. It's like, okay. So he has to follow me into the restroom and watch me take a pee at the urinal and to make sure that I'm not like popping pills or anything. So I wash my hands, get out, get back there. And still, I was waiting in the line for the blood drive for like 90 minutes. I was missing like 3 classes by the time it took me to do this, which I am very understanding of. Like, listen, whatever I can do to get out of class, sign me up. I am all for it. But this was taking a long time. And I am understanding of that. Listen, they're dealing with people's blood here. I'd rather them be safer than quicker. I'm waiting for about 90 minutes. Finally, they call me up. And there's a girl, and it's kind of awkward because she asked me out once, and I was like, all right, you know what? Sure. We'll go on a date, see how things are. And we didn't have any chemistry, and it was just one of those things. It's like, like if a girl asks me on a date, unless I'm dating someone or she's dating someone or she's like clearly way too young, or like it's just there's a reason why I definitely should not go on a date with her. Unless it's one of those, in my mind, I owe it to them to give them a chance, because at the very least, because the way I see it, if a girl asks you out, unless like it's one of those situations, she's dating someone, you're dating someone, unless it's one of those situations, just give it a shot, because it can't hurt. The worst that will happen is that, like, you realize, all right, hey, I don't have any feelings for this girl. We don't have chemistry. And, it was a one-time thing. We aren't going to get too attached. And she isn't going to get too attached. Fair enough. And at best, you will discover, hey, we do have chemistry and I really like this person. And that could be the start of a relationship. So, there's no, bad way to look at it. So as a policy for me, if a girl asks me out and it is within reason, I will go, all right, we'll go on one date. Fair enough. This girl who basically serviced me at the blood drive, she had asked me out on a date and was like, oh, okay, we didn't have any chemistry. It was just one of those situations. So she comes up to me and she's like, hey, would you like a juice box? And I'm like, no, thanks. I don't need a juice box. I didn't laugh when I said it, but I'm laughing now just because it was such a funny situation at the time. And I mean, we're friends now. I mean, this was a long time ago. So I say, no, I'm not going to have a juice box. And she goes, listen, you need to drink something. You're required to drink something. So just drink a water. I'm like, okay, I'll drink a water. So she brings me a water. It's like, enjoy your water. And she was, making fun of it too. She was having a good time. I was having a good time. We both understood the irony of the situation there. So it was pretty funny then, and it's funny now. So then the lady comes over who's actually drawing my blood. She comes up and she's like, you ever got your blood drawn before? That's exactly what she says. And I go, no, I haven't. It's like, well, first time for everything, huh? And she just goes, boom, and sticks the needle in my arm after prepping it or whatever. And the actual process of getting blood, it's painless. It doesn't feel bad. There's nothing painful about it. It was just fine. Once I'm in the chair and having the blood drawn, the whole process is about 5 minutes. So 5 minutes, I'm out of there, out of the chair, And so I'm about to leave, and they go, whoa, 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 don't leave just yet. And they sit me down at like a table of like a whole bunch of snacks. Like, no, thanks. I don't need any snacks. I thought they were just there like, hey, good job. Eat a snack, as a reward. No, they're like, you better eat a snack. And it's like, oh, geez, let's calm down. And the thing is, I cannot eat sugar, or else I will flare up in my acne so bad my forehead looks like the starry night sky. So I am really conscious about what I put into my body, especially after my gallbladder attack, because that was no fun. So I really have to watch what I eat. And basically, they have like Cheetos, Oreos, like cheese and crackers, nothing healthy here. So I'm like, do I really have to eat something? It's like, yes, you better eat something. So I go for like the lowest carb, lowest sugar, lowest calorie thing I can, which is like Wheat Thins. I grab a bag of those, and they literally watch you eat. You have an assigned partner, the same partner that had to watch me as I peed into the urinal in the bathroom. The same partner was like, I have to sit here and watch you until you finish your chips to make sure that you eat the whole thing. And also you have to drink another bottle of water. I'm like, okay. And by this time, there's like 10 minutes left in school. So I finally get done. I'm like, I'm not feeling any lightheadedness. I'm not feeling dizzy. I'm not feeling weak, anything at all. So I pick up my backpack and get ready to leave. And they're like, whoa, 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 what are you doing? I was like, I'm leaving. And he's like, not on my watch. And so the same dude who watched me pee, watched me eat, watched me drink 2 bottles of water, 3 actually, he's like, no, I'm going to carry this for you. And so he carries all my stuff and walks me back to my class. There's like 10 minutes left in class. It's like, my backpack is like 15 pounds max. I can carry this. That is how dedicated they are to making sure that they don't get sued if someone gets dizzy and passes out and blames it on them. That's how dedicated they are. So in that way, I have to commend them. They made sure that I didn't pass out. I wish that was the customer service they had at like restaurants. But you know what? That's unrealistic. That was an extreme example. So everything's fine. Actually, my mom drives me home because actually you're apparently not supposed to drive either after you give blood. That's what she told me, at least. That's probably not true, but that's what I was told. So better safe than sorry. She drives me home, and my mom asked me, all right, hey, how was giving blood? Do you feel dizzy? Do you feel weak? I'm like, no, I feel perfectly fine. I don't feel anything. Nothing was wrong. I go about my Friday night. I go to bed. I wake up Saturday morning, and my dad wakes me up, and he's like, hey, can you rake leaves in the yard? I'm like, yeah, sure. And I start raking leaves, and they do tell you, hey, don't do any strenuous physical activity until you're, it's like a couple days after giving blood. Fair enough. I didn't take that to heart. I was like, I'll be fine, because I wasn't feeling anything then. So I start raking leaves. So we're raking leaves, and we put them onto a big giant tarp to bring to the brush pile to burn. Fair enough. We put them on there, and so it's me and my brother. We're out there, and we're like, we need to run to bring it to the brush pile. And so it's not too terribly heavy, but I start raking the leaves, and we start pulling the thing, and I start feeling like I'm about to die. I start coughing like I have the coronavirus. I feel like I'm about to puke, to the point where like I'm literally on the ground. And so my brother like goes out, he runs to my dad for help. And like my dad comes out and he's like, son, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm just feeling really sick. He's like, that doesn't sound like okay to me. And he goes, what happened? I go, and I basically tell him I'm just feeling really weak. I feel kind of lightheaded. I'm coughing a lot. I just feel sick. I just feel just drained. And he goes, didn't you give blood yesterday? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, you're so dumb. You're not supposed to do like any even mildly strenuous physical activity. And you're supposed to eat a lot of foods like that have a whole bunch of sugar in them. It's like, listen, son, you're supposed to like eat like 12 cookies after that and drink a bunch of apple juice. So he sets me inside. He's like, listen, you're not going to do work. That's stupid. Sets me inside. I have an excuse now to eat like 8 cookies and drink a whole bunch of apple cider. It's a fun time, which I normally wouldn't do because obviously keto, carnivore, all that stuff. So at this point, I've paid for my sin of not doing what they told me to do in eating the cookies that I was supposed to and not exercising. I broke both of those rules. So that was on me, 100%. So they tell you you're going to get your results back in about 3 weeks. Fair enough. 3 weeks later, my mom comes in my office and she goes, hey, son, I have some news. I have a letter from the American Red Cross and they have your blood results back. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And she goes, but the bad news is they can't use your blood. I'm like, oh, well, why not? What's going on? And she hands me the letter. And I open the letter, and the letter basically boils down to this. The letter says this. Thank you, Mr. Ivanov, for participating in our blood drive donation. Unfortunately, your cholesterol is off the charts. It's freaking ridiculous, and anyone who knowingly puts that much cholesterol blood into their veins has a death wish. So basically, they can't use my blood because my cholesterol is outrageous. And they literally, like, tell me, it's like, listen, dude, like, you need to, like, change your diet or something. And that's just a thing about keto is your cholesterol goes way up. But there are ways to, work around that. So I can't donate blood because my cholesterol is absolute crap. So all that for nothing. But it was worth a shot. I'd rather try and fail than not try at all. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to the Sound of Sergey podcast episode 12. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to tune in every Friday, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, free on Spotify. Tune in for the Sound of Sergey. Also, make sure to follow me on Instagram at Servanov_, that's my photography account, and at Sergey_speaks, that's my comedy account. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Servanov, Servanov. Make sure to subscribe to that every Friday, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. You'll get a video from me. 1 week it will be Sergey Speaks, my comedic videos, and the other week it will be Snapshot, my photography series, where I take you through my photographic process. Thank you so much for supporting me and tuning in. Thank you so much for listening. I love each and every one of you. You guys are great. You guys are awesome. I cannot ask for a better audience. Thank you so much, and I will see you next week.